This is a PokePress special report. Hi, I'm Stephen Reich here at the Glacier Canyon Lodge in Lake Delton, Wisconsin, at the 2011 Pokemon Trading Card Game, Midwest Regional. I'm here with Calvin Chang, who is one of the participants in the Masters Division of today's tournament. And Calvin, you played a Magnezone deck, which is a somewhat more recent development. The key card, the Magnezone Prime, came out in one of the Heart Gold Soul Silver sets. Why don't you explain the basic strategy and underlying principles of that deck?
So with this Magnezone deck, we take Magnezone Prime from the Triumphant set. We also have Regirock from Legends Awakened, and Magnezone with a Superconductivity Pokepower from the Stormfront set. The basis of this deck is we start with Spiritomb, and the goal of it is to start with a few Magnemites, and eventually use Spiritomb's Darkness Grace attack to set up a bunch of Magnezone attacks.
All right, well that sounds pretty good. So how did you choose the blend of the Magnezone Prime and the Stormfront Magnezone? Is it a 3 Prime to 1 Stormfront? Is that, and how did you choose that ratio?
Our build was 3 Magnezone Primes and 1 Superconductivity Magnezone. There was a lot of talk over the internet about having the Superconductivity Magnezone, and since the goal of this deck is to make energies go to the discard pile, the Superconductivity Pokepower is key to helping Magnezone discard energy for its Lost Burn attack. We decided the 3-1 ratio because Magnezone Prime was our main attacker and really our only attacker in this entire deck, and so having a lot of Magnezone Primes was pinnacle to this deck, whereas the Magnezone Stormfront Superconductivity was merely just a tech.
All right, and you also brought out a Regirock from Legends Awakened. So what purpose did that serve in the deck?
The Regicycle Pokepower allows you to discard 2 cards from your hand in order to take a fighting energy from your discard pile and attach it to Regirock. Now, this allows, since Magnezone Prime's Lost Burn attack allows you to discard energy from any one of your Pokemon, this allows Magnezone to have more attack power with the Lost Burn attack. Additionally, the Regicycle also kind of has an advantage over decks like Vilegar. By discarding cards from your hand, such as trainers, you can hinder their poltergeist attacks, which might give you an advantage during the matchup.
All right, and speaking of trainers, supporters, and stadiums, what are some of the support cards you have in this deck?
3 main cards were Judge, Engineer's Adjustments, and Sunyshore City Gym. Judge was a supporter that came out in the Unleashed set, and I personally really like Judge. Having both players shuffle their hands into their deck and drawing a new hand, the disruption quality of the Judge card was just amazing. And there are a lot of times in the Magnezone deck where you might have a bunch of cards all piled into one hand, and that hinders you from using the Magnetic Draw Pokepower, which lets you draw up to 6. By having Judge, you can shuffle your entire deck, your hand, back into your deck and draw a new hand of 6 cards. Engineer's Adjustments really helps you discard your energy cards into your discard pile. So in order for you to use the Regicycle, you must have a fighting energy in your discard pile already. Engineer's Adjustments not only helps you put that energy into the discard pile, but it also helps you with draw power. We put Sunyshore City Gym into our deck as a defense against popular decks such as Donphan and Machamp. Since Magnezone Prime has a ×2 weakness against fighting Pokemon, Sunyshore City Gym lets you prevent that weakness and lets Magnezone pretty much stay in play for 1 turn longer.
All right, so what worked today the way you expected?
As soon as I was able to start the Regicycle with the energy in my discard pile, when you had the fighting energy in your discard pile, typically what I would do is take 2 more fighting energy in my hand and discard it. Then I'd have more fighting energy in my discard pile for future Regicycles. There were some times where I played 2 Regirocks during a match. Then I could use Regicycle twice, and that's already, since Lost Burn does 50 damage per energy discarded, that's 100 damage right there.
And what didn't work as well as you would have liked? And do you have any plans to make any changes to improve your odds there?
There were 2 problems that I faced with this deck. One was getting that initial energy into the discard pile. There were times where you could get the fighting energy into your discard pile, but then you would Regicycle, you would discard 2, say, trainers, and then you'd have no more fighting energy in your discard pile for future Regicycles. So one way to remedy this is to make sure you have 2 fighting energy in your hand basically at all times in order to continue Regicycling through the entire game. Otherwise, you could tech a Regice with the Regimove Poké Power, which allows you to non-discriminately discard 2 cards from your hand, regardless of the presence of the fighting energy in your discard pile. The second problem with this deck was the fact that you ran through your entire deck really quickly. I lost 2 rounds today because I decked out. And having the Magnetic Drop Poké Power from Magnezone Prime and the Engineer's Adjustments, I ran through the entire deck really quickly, and I noticed other people playing Magnezone Prime, and they also had similar problems. In order to remedy this, we could use different kinds of cards that lets you get the cards that you need, say like Junk Arm. So you could Junk Arm the energy or whatever from your hand to your discard pile and take what you actually need from the discard pile rather than going through your entire deck and trying to find a way.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Calvin. This has been Stephen Reich from Lake Delton, Wisconsin, at the Pokemon Trading Card Game 2011 Midwest Regionals. This has been a PokePress special report.